What's up, 8th grade science? Welcome back. Today we are talking about topographic maps. Probably haven't seen these before. A lot of the stuff we've been working on the last few weeks you've seen in 6th grade, but this is brand new. So I wanted to make a video so y'all could pause, go back and forth a little bit. If you're really stuck on this stuff, pause and rewatch, okay? I'm making the video because this is new stuff, but it's not that tough. All right, here we go. Topographic maps represent the locations of major geological features. I want you to box in geological features, draw yourself an arrow. We're going to list 2 or 3 geological features. These are just the things we've been talking about and finding on the maps recently, like mountains, right? Mountains. And I also want you to write on this one, we're going to write valleys. So these maps show you how high or how low the ground is, a term called elevation. All right, we're going to do math based off these maps. That's going to be the biggest thing you're going to have to do is find the differences in elevation. So I want you thinking about doing some math today. It's going to be a little bit like math class, all right? So I want you to read this definition right here. It says contour line. That word is pronounced contour. A contour line is a special type of line that shows different elevations on a map. So you see this map right here, let's put the star by. Those are all contour lines. If the lines are close together, they're really small, not a lot of space between them. That's a steep area. What a steep area means to us in 8th grade science is it gains height quickly. I want you all to think about a few things in your life that are steep. Steep things are like stairs or roller coasters. They go up fast. It doesn't take you a lot of time to get much higher off the ground. If the lines are further apart, it's a flat area. Box in flat. I know y'all know what flat means, but we're going to give a definition just like we gave steep. Here we're going to say it gains height slowly. Flat things in your life are like wheelchair ramps. If you think about why wheelchair ramps need to be flat, people who are in wheelchairs need to use their arms to wheel themselves up the ramp. So if it's really steep, it would be super hard to get up the ramp. So you got to make them really flat so it's easier, okay? Now we're going to read about contour intervals. Contour intervals. That's the next thing that's important. Contour intervals are the difference in elevation represented by each line on the map. So you're always going to be told the interval. I'm going to switch colors to make sure you see this, and I want you to box in 20 meters. That's your contour interval for this little sample map. That means every time you move a line, you're moving that much distance. It's not always the same. So every time you use one of these problems, find the interval so you know how much to add, okay? Now we're going to look down here at the map really in detail. So what you're going to have to do most of the time on questions like this is you're going to have to tell me, like, if you're going from point Y to point X, how much height did you gain? That's a classic question. We're actually going to do it here in a second, but let's break it down slowly. First thing is right here, we're at a height of 1,200 meters. You see, every 100 meters, they've labeled a line. That does not mean you can't figure out the height in between. Those are just reference points. So let's figure out the height in between on each line. If this line is 1,200, and my contour interval is 20 meters, I need to add 20. So my next line, if I hop up one line, I'm going to switch back and forth on colors. Use red. This line right here is now 1,220 meters. Okay? I got that because I moved up one line, and I knew my one line gave me 20 meters from the interval. Draw another arrow. You're scooting up. If you're at 1,220, you moved up one line, our contour interval is 20 meters, you are now at 1,240 meters. All right, y'all should start to see a pattern here. We're at 1,240, hop up. We are now at 1,260. Now I need to get another green arrow. Go up again. I was at 1,260. I gained 20. That's my interval. I'm at 1,280. And here's a good place to stop and check yourself if you've been doing your math right. If I add 20 more, I'm getting back to a line that was already marked on the map. 1,280 plus 20 is 1,300, so we did it correctly. That means you did your math correctly in the right spot, all right? So let's check out the questions we have over on the right side. One of them says, what is the contour interval? You're always going to be given the contour interval, so you just have to look on your map, and you see here that it's 20 meters. So go ahead and copy down 20 meters into that space. Then you have to ask, what is the elevation at point Y? So I'm going to zoom in. I know you can't zoom in on your paper, but point Y, right here, if we trace over to where we labeled, it's at 1,240 meters because it's 2 lines above our base point, and each line is worth 20 meters. So at point Y, our elevation is 1,240 meters. Next question says, what is the elevation at point X? Point X is actually a lot easier because if you look at point X, it's already on a line right up here. You don't have to do any math. If it's on one of the labeled lines, just copy it down. So point X, we are at 1,600 meters. We went up the hill, we got higher. Okay, point X is actually the peak. It's as high as the numbers you see on the mountain. That is the mountain peak. You'll be asked to identify that a couple times. Now, this is the big question. What is the difference in elevation from point X to point Y? I want y'all to circle difference. I already bolded it for you, but circle difference. Draw yourself an arrow. You should know that mathematically, difference means subtraction. Difference means you need to subtract, okay? So questions like these, always break them down into two pieces. Get your elevation at X, get your elevation at Y, subtract. Make sure you're writing and doing math on the page. You can also use your calculator for the subtraction. 1,600 minus 1,240, that gives me, if I do my subtraction, look at this, I'm going to do subtraction just like you guys. 5, carry the 1, 9, 10. Oh, wait, I didn't even need to do that. Mr. Munz can't do subtraction. 1,600 minus 1,240, 0, borrow 10, 6, 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. That tells me my difference in elevation is 360 meters. That's as tough as it's going to get today. You're going to have to read story problems, figure out the elevation. To recap what we talked about, we said that contour lines, if they're really close together, are steep, or you're going uphill fast. Contour lines far apart are flatter. It doesn't gain height as quickly. The contour interval tells you how much distance is gained at each line. So on this map, every time you go up a line, you gain 20 meters. So we labeled each line up here, gaining 20 meters each time we jumped. Okay, you could do that the whole way through the map, and you'd see that it would work out. You'd get to 1,600 right up here at the top, but we don't need to label every line. Then finally, we talked about a sample problem where I asked you to find the difference in elevation between points X and Y. We found that point X was at 1,600 meters because it was on the line. Point Y we had labeled earlier, it was 1,240 meters because we jumped up twice. Each jump was 20. We went from 1,200 to 1,220 to 1,240. And then we said difference means subtraction, and we subtracted. All right? That is it for our video. Where you're going to go next is this guided practice section, and I actually want y'all to take your pen or pencil and cross off map 1. Map 1 printed incorrectly, so when we get into guided practice here, we aren't going to use map 1. You can also cross off question 3 on map 2 because that asks you to use map 1, and map 1 didn't print. So when we go to the next section, you and your partner are going to work on Topographic Map 2. It should be on your table in one of those slip covers, one of those shiny covers that you can write on. Get that map out, and you and your partner are going to solve some questions using that topographic map. All right? Great job, y'all. Let's finish strong, all right?